Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we've been doing for quite some time, we're going to start up this program with the singing of the United States National Anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask everybody right now to please rise for the singing of the National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the
Let them know it, folks. The United States Army Barbershop Quartet performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. These great men singing one of the world's hardest songs to sing did a magnificent job. I've sung this song, I know how it is. Okay? I love this hymn, I love our nation. I love all of our countries worldwide. I grew up in Idaho. I grew up in North Dakota. I grew up in California. Then I grew a big one. I had an opportunity to serve as a missionary in Sweden. All on my own, by myself, without anybody prodding me. I learned what patriotism really was. If you even breathed wrong in Sweden, you would lose your U.S. citizenship. I learned to value my country. I learned to value my country of origin, where my grandfather and grandparents came from. I love Sweden. I love the United States of America. I love England. I love all the countries that are represented here by this program. I thank you all for being here today with us. I thank our men and women of the armed forces, wherever they might be serving, either here in the United States or abroad. I want to thank all of our other servicemen and women who serve with their various countries worldwide who are allies to the United States to help us keep peace in the world. God bless all of you men and women in the service. God bless you that you may return home to your families in safety when your tours of duty end. God bless you all. Be safe, brothers and sisters. We love you. Folks, I have a lot of things that I want to talk about tonight. A lot of things. The first thing I want to talk about is a huge earthquake. A major earthquake that happened over in, actually just southeast of Kamchatka Peninsula in the Kuril Islands. What I'm showing you on the right-hand side is a USGS map. Okay? Actually, it's not the USGS map, I'm sorry. This is Google Earth on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we're showing you an island in the Kuril Islands where the earthquake allegedly happened. Okay? Right next to a volcano. On the right-hand side, push pin here it's in the yellow here, is where that island is located, where that earthquake allegedly happened. The United States Geological Survey has another location for it out in the Sea of Okhotsk, just west of the Kuril Islands. Okay? USGS has this as a 7.2 earthquake. They immediately downgraded it to a 6.7. Now I went over to the seismologist study page and I found out a lot of information. Number one, I found out that a lot of the seismographs that were recording this earthquake had bearings of 0.00 as magnitudes for this quake. In other words, the seismographs were not recording anything. I also had seismographs recording information such as a 2.2 earthquake, a minor earthquake. There's no way in heck that this was a 2.2 minor earthquake. It came out as a 7.2. They downgraded it to a 6.7. I also saw a lot of 6.0s, 6.1, 6.2s, 6.3s, 6.5, 6.7s. I saw numerous 7.0, 7.7 earthquakes. I even saw one 8.08 magnitude earthquake listed on the EMSC backside seismologist study page. 8.0. How is that possible? How is it possible that one of the seismographs recorded this earthquake is an 8.08? That seismograph should possibly be located on that island or in that vicinity where this earthquake happened, the epicenter where this earthquake happened. If it was an 8.08 earthquake, it still would have been a major earthquake. But this came out as a 7.2 major earthquake. They downgraded it to a 6.7 very strong earthquake. Needless to say, nobody felt this earthquake. Nobody lives in the Kuril Islands. The Kuril Islands are an island chain that is comprised of volcanoes, just like you see here on the left-hand side of your screen here. Okay? If this earthquake indeed did happen next to this volcano, this would be proof positive that there's magma underneath this volcano that may have caused this earthquake. Okay? I'm just saying. Off to the right-hand side on the right screenshot of this, you see a great big huge trench. An underwater trench leading north out of Japan. It's called the Japanese Trench. It goes off to the east side of Japan and goes north and goes to the west side or the east side of Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. Then it connects with the Aleutian Island chain. Okay? Let me take these two screenshots down and I'll show you exactly what we're talking about here. Let me take down my banner here. I'm bringing up the USGS map here. Okay? On this particular map, you can see this earthquake. It's the largest earthquake on the map right now. Again, USGS downgraded this to a 6.7. I don't think this is a 6.7 earthquake. Okay? I honestly, in my heart of hearts, don't believe this was a 6.7 earthquake. I believe this was at least a 7.4. A 7.4 major earthquake. Okay? Now, as you can see, the Japanese Trench runs north just to the east side of the Kamchatka Peninsula here, just north of this quake. Okay? Now, I want to show you something. I would ask you to please pay close attention to what I'm going to show you now. This seismic energy that we observed today in the Kuril Islands, it's going to continue to flow north. We may see some of that energy stop over here just east of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Then it's going to continue north, and then it's going to go east through the Aleutian Island chain. Again, we've seen a lot of energy pass through the Aleutian Island chain as of the last 2 months, the last 6 months, the last 4 years. There is a lot of energy over here in the Gulf of Alaska. A lot of seismic energy is locked up here in the Gulf of Alaska. Now, I want to show you something else that's very interesting that happened when this earthquake happened today. So please hang in here with me. I think this is very important to show you, or I would not even show you what I'm going to show you. Okay? Now, what I'm going to show you now is the National Tsunami Buoy Center. Okay? This is the National Tsunami Buoy Center. Okay? It shows you the map of where this earthquake happened. Now you see a blinking diamond shape. You see a blinking diamond shape here. That is a buoy out in the Pacific Ocean. It's a buoy out in the Pacific Ocean here. It's in active mode. That's why it's flashing. Now I want to show you this where it's at. The buoy is number 21416, just southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Let me show you this. Okay? This is the water column height chart. The water column height chart of this buoy. This buoy is bobbing around in the Pacific Ocean like this, up and down. Now, folks, we have approximately a 12-foot latitude here, from height to bottom of the wave. 12-foot change here. What I believe happened is that this earthquake caused a change in the seabed of the Pacific Ocean. That is why this buoy is bobbing around in the Pacific Ocean and it's on active mode. Okay? But at the same time, there's also another buoy that's still active. On this particular map, it's not showing active at all. It's not flashing. It's this buoy right here. Station number 46410. Okay? It's over here in the the Gulf of Alaska. Okay? What I'm showing you here is the water column height here. Again, we're seeing basically the same kind of water column. Okay? This buoy has been in active mode since after the earthquake over in the Kuril Islands today. We have two buoys in active mode. Now, what differentiates one from the other? The other was made active by an earthquake. Was this buoy made active also by the earthquake, while all the other buoys are not active at all? Or did something else happen here in the Gulf of Alaska that the United States Geological Survey is not talking about? Was there another earthquake over here in the Gulf of Alaska or in Alaska itself that nobody's talking about? And if so, why not? I'm just throwing that out here. I'm just throwing that out here. I think everyone should be concerned. I think everyone should be concerned, and you have a right to be concerned. Because our agencies are not telling us the truth. Why are these two buoys both active? One, we know for a fact that there was an earthquake that made that buoy active. But why are the other buoys, why is this other buoy active? And why is the buoy just to the south of this other active, not active as well? Those two buoys should both be active there to the west. Why is only one active? What made that happen? The sea bottom moved, guys. When this 7.2/7.4 earthquake hit, the bottom of the ocean over here, just southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula, changed. That's what caused the earthquake. Okay? But the question still arises, why is the USGS hiding information over in the Gulf of Alaska? Buoys don't just happen to change like this. They don't just go active unless, for example, there's a storm out there and the winds are blowing the ocean water. Sometimes that does happen. But so far I haven't been able to find the storm that may or may not have been active in the Gulf of Alaska. Okay? I want you to think about that. I want you to seriously think about that. Because I know for a fact that our agency is lying through their teeth. The agency is lying through their teeth. They could not tell us the truth if it bit them in the face. Okay? What has happened today should never be happening. We should not have to consider whether or not the agency is lying to us or not. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm quite frankly getting very tired of this agency not being honest with any of us. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Now I want to show you some other evidence that this earthquake indeed did happen. I haven't showed these helioplots lately. Okay? It's been maybe a month, maybe even closer to a year. Actually, it's been more than a month. It's been many months, or maybe even closer to years, since I've shown you a heliplot. This heliplot is a machine, like a seismograph, that's recording the information of the earthquake. In this case, it's recording the earthquake that happened just south of the Kamchatka Peninsula in the Kuril Islands. The right-hand side of this helioplot is the recorded information from that earthquake. Okay? No, it did not totally cover the whole graph here. It was not a 9.0 earthquake, or even larger. But off here to the left, you can see the seismic energy build here at the bottom left-hand corner. You can see the seismic energy build here. And then all of a sudden, out almost of nowhere, we got the 7.2, 7.4 earthquake. Okay? That's what happened here in the Kuril Islands today. Okay? You need to see this. It's important to understand where this earthquake came from. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about what happened this morning? And this earthquake happened early this morning. This earthquake happened early this morning. It woke me up, and then I got a telephone call from NCWQ Becky, who also said, "Are you awake yet? Did you see that earthquake?" I said, "Yes, I did. I was watching it." Folks, this is unreal. We've seen these kind of earthquakes happen before, literally all around the world. In the South Pacific, we've seen them happen just north of Australia in Indonesia. We've seen them happen in the Kermadec Islands north of New Zealand. We've seen them happen over towards Tonga. We've seen them happen over on the northwestern side of the Pacific, over in Taiwan. We've seen them happen south of there in the Philippines. Yes, the Philippines has also been very active today. Now, I want to go back to the USGS map here for a minute, because there have been some active earthquakes that all of you need to know about. Okay? Now let me take down my webcam here so I can show you exactly what happened today. Okay? You can see all these earthquakes up in Alaska. After that, 7.2, 7.4 earthquake hit in the Kuril Islands today. Prior to that, we had maybe 20 earthquakes here in Alaska. Now we have more like 50 earthquakes here in Alaska. Nothing much higher, nothing coming even close to the Arctic Circle. This red earthquake, this just happened. Anytime you see a red dot on an earthquake map, that means an earthquake just happened. This is a 1.5 tremor near Fox, Alaska. 1.5 tremor near Fox, Alaska. Over here in south central Alaska, this is a 2.4 minor earthquake near Willow, Alaska. Near Willow, Alaska. Let's zoom in here. Okay? I want to make sure you understand where all these places are. For example, this earthquake right here. This is just east of Anchorage, Alaska. This is a 2.1 earthquake, 14 kilometers east-southeast of Elmendorf Air Force Base, Alaska. Okay? Let's just go further west here. What do we have happening right here? This is Anchorage, Alaska, folks. Anchorage, Alaska. This is the capital of Alaska. Just east of Anchorage, we have Elmendorf Air Force Base here. Okay? Again, with a 2.1 minor earthquake. Earthquakes like this happen all over the world and all over Alaska. Okay? Now, I want to go further over here to the southwest here. Okay? I want to go over to where this earthquake right here is. Okay? This quake just happened. This is a 1.6 tremor. But what is this swarm of earthquakes right here? Allegedly, USGS wants us to believe that this is a minus 0.6 microquake. Okay? Well, guess what? USBS has this as a minus 2.2 kilometers deep. 1 mile deep here. I'm sorry, 1 mile deep at Mount Redoubt is actually below sea level. This is 1 mile deep, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mount Redoubt, Alaska. This is a volcano. So all these earthquakes, this earthquake swarm here belongs to Mount Redoubt. North of Mount Redoubt here, allegedly this is a surface quake. A surface quake, a 0.0 surface quake. Fascinating. This is allegedly a minus 0.6 microquake at Mount Redoubt. Again, this is 1 mile deep here. Okay? How about this earthquake here? This is minus 1.0 microquake. Minus numbers usually equals above or below sea level. Again, this is not anything close to below sea level. I'm sorry, minus numbers means above sea level. Minus numbers means above sea level. Again, guess what? This is 1.5 miles deep. 1.5 miles deep on the south side of Mount Redoubt. Fascinating, huh? This is minus 1.0. Again, allegedly above sea level. Sorry. This is 3/4 of a mile deep. 3/4 of a mile deep here. 1.3 kilometers deep. Fascinating. This is minus 0.8. Allegedly above sea level here. But guess what? This is nearly 1.5 miles deep. Again, at an active volcano, Mount Redoubt in Alaska. Okay? Whenever we've seen this activity at Mount Redoubt in the past, usually means that magma is refilling at this volcano, and I just need to note that this volcano is steaming. I was notified this morning that this volcano was steaming over in Alaska. Magma has gone up into the magma chamber of Mount Redoubt. Okay? Now, 6 to 8% of all magma is water. 6 to 8% of all magma is water. That's why the volcanoes can steam. As that magma reaches near the summit of the volcano, there's a lot of force behind the magma. And it's forcing the water is boiling inside the magma, of course, and the water is boiling off. And when there are cracks in the summit of the volcano, in the great big huge lava rock plug of the volcano, those holes in the lava rock plug is where the steam releases from the volcano. That's why Mount Redoubt is steaming. And at some point in time, what do you think is going to happen there? What do you think is going to happen there? Let me show you. Okay? The magma is going up inside the magma chamber of the volcano, isn't it? When the magma hits that lava plug, just like this, my left hand here is the lava plug. When the magma continues hitting that plug, it fractures that plug, doesn't it? Tiny cracks appear in that lava rock plug. What happens? Those cracks get wider and wider and wider. The magma beneath that plug is hot, isn't it? Upwards of 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. What happens when hot air goes through anything? It forces those holes to expand, doesn't it? Heat expands the size of the holes. So what happens when this magma continues pounding on this lava rock plug? Cracks develop. Cracks develop, and the cracks get wider and wider and wider. And at some point in time, the water vapor from the magma comes up out of those holes, just like this. And as that heated water vapor comes out of those holes get wider and wider, don't they? So between the magma plugging or plunging away into that lava plug and the heated vapor coming through those holes, widen those holes, what else happens? At some point in time, that lava rock plug is going to shatter. Boom. That's when we're going to get an eruption at Mount Redoubt, Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, any of the volcanoes. That's how that happens. That's exactly what happens. Okay? It's been a while since I've been wanting to explain that to you. I used to explain it at least once a week. But I'm talking to you now, telling you what happens. As you can see, there are a swarm of earthquakes at Mount Redoubt. That means that volcano it may be getting ready to erupt again. And all these volcanoes that we talked about are steaming. They're steaming. As I've explained to you in previous weeks, Mount Rainier over in Washington State, Mount St. Helens in Washington State, both of those volcanoes are getting ready to erupt. There are plenty of earthquakes at those volcanoes to prove it. USGS very rarely even shows the earthquakes. They show those earthquakes as microquakes. But I'm telling you right now, there's more than just microquakes hitting those volcanoes. We're getting microquakes, we're getting tremors, and we're getting minor quakes, and we're getting small earthquakes. Small earthquakes 3.0, 3.9. As of late, both Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier, we've had 4.0 and 4.5 earthquakes hitting both of those volcanoes. Both of those volcanoes are getting ready to erupt. At some time in the near future, we're going to have an eruption from at least one volcano in Washington State. Mount Redoubt erupted about 2 years ago. So Mount Redoubt here in Alaska may be getting ready to erupt again. There are many other there are many other earthquakes here in Alaska. There are 60 other volcanoes all over Alaska. And each one of those volcanoes are active. Each one of those volcanoes are active, guys. And any one of those volcanoes may also be getting ready to erupt. Okay? We need to pay attention to what's going on. And I've been telling everybody what has been happening so far. Anytime there's any major news of anything like this going on, I try to report it. Why do I try to report it? Because, folks, somebody could get hurt, couldn't they? Lives are going to change. Lives are going to change. There are emergencies happening all around the earth. Emergencies are happening all around the earth. And unless you're paying attention, you're not going to know about it. Unless you're paying attention, you're not going to know about it. Now, I'm going to move this over here. We just had another earthquake here. Red in color, meaning it just happened. This is a 1.6 earthquake. Okay? It's over near Tynek, Alaska. T-Y-O-N-E-K, Alaska. Okay? It's just a tremor. 1.6 tremor. As you can see, there are a lot of other earthquakes here. In this grayish area, this is water. This is water. This grayish area of water just happens to be water coming in off the Pacific Ocean. This is called the Cook Inlet. The Cook Inlet. North Pacific Ocean ends over here. And the water goes into the Cook Inlet. As you can see, we have earthquakes and tremors here. This is a 3.7 small earthquake here. 3.0, 3.9 earthquakes are small earthquakes. This is a 3.7. This is 16 kilometers north of Ninilchik, Alaska. Ninilchik, Alaska. N-I-N-I-L-C-H-I-K, Alaska. Okay? Over to the left, you see another red earthquake. I'm going to change that. I just did. This is a 1.5 tremor here. A 1.5 tremor here. Now, folks, for those of you that have not been following this program, just south of that earthquake here, that's blue, guess what? This is another volcano here. This is another volcano. And folks, this happens to be another seismic event at the volcano. Right down the throat of the volcano. This is a minus 0.4 microquake. Again, the USGS has this above sea level. Minus numbers above sea level. Well, guess what? Sorry, this is less than a half mile deep. Less than a half mile deep. Okay? Right down the throat of the volcano here. That happens. Well, guess what? Right here, we have another volcano, don't we? Right there. This is a 0.2 microquake. Just north of there is another 0.2 microquake. Guess what? Usually we have a lot of swarms of earthquakes here. We're not having a swarm, but We're having some recognizable seismic events near the volcano, aren't we? South of that volcano right here. This is supposedly a minus 0.7 microquake. This happens to be a half-mile deep, just south of that volcano. This is a 1.3 tremor here. 1.3 tremor. They don't have a depth of tremor listed for this earthquake. Isn't that interesting that they're hiding the depth of this earthquake? They're hiding the depth of the earthquake. All of the earthquakes worldwide are being reactivated. All of the earthquakes worldwide are being reactivated. Now, why am I telling you that? Let's back out away from Alaska. Now, I haven't done this in quite a while. Actually, before I do this, down here in the peninsula, the Alaska Peninsula here, this is a 4.0 moderate earthquake. 4.0 moderate earthquake here, and this is near Nelson Lagoon, Alaska. Nelson Lagoon, Alaska. USGS and the other agencies have been calling 4.0, 4.9 earthquakes light earthquakes. There is nothing light about a 4.0 to 4.9 earthquakes. 4.0 to 4.9 earthquakes can cause moderate damage. Moderate damage, guys. Now, this year, the agencies changed how they designate the names of these earthquakes. It doesn't change the fact that these earthquakes can cause moderate damage, being a 4.0, 4.9. They should never have changed the name of these earthquakes. I know why they did it. I've explained this before. They do not want anybody to realize exactly what's going on. They want everybody to think, oh, that's a nothing earthquake. They're calling it a light earthquake. That's exactly what they want to have people believe. These are not light earthquakes. These are moderate earthquakes. 5.0, 5.9 are called large earthquakes, and they've been calling these earthquakes moderate earthquakes. There's nothing moderate about a 5.0, 5.9 that can cause major damage. And I've seen major damage happen at 5.0 to 5.9 earthquakes. For example, back in 2018, when I was living in Salt Lake City, I was living in a town south of Salt Lake called Sandy, Utah. Well, on March 18th, my mother's birthday in 2018, Salt Lake City had a 5.6 earthquake that caused millions of dollars of damage. Millions of dollars of damage with an M. Could that have been considered moderate damage? I don't think so. I don't think so. But again, the agencies are trying to play a mind game with us. They do not want us to understand what is really going on. They do not want us to understand what's really going on. They want us to believe that nothing's going on. Period. Okay, now I've taken you down to the South Pacific here. Way down here in the South Pacific, we have a magma plume coming up from the center of the Earth. This magma plume is coming up through the center of the Earth, and it's pushing magma all throughout around the world. It's forcing magma through magma channels around the world to all the world's volcanoes. That's what's going on. Each one of the volcanoes that are active throughout the world are active because this magma plume is active. This magma plume is active, coming up from the center of the Earth. Now, I have not talked about Hawaii as of late, except when we were talking about Kilauea volcano the other day when it was erupting. I want to take you over to the big island of Hawaii right now. Okay? Over here. This earthquake I just highlighted is a 2.2 minor earthquake. This area where this earthquake is called Pahala. Pahala. P-A-H-A-L-L-A. Pahala, Hawaii. Actually, it's not LL, it's one L. P-A-H-A-L-A, Hawaii. Okay? That's a 2.2 earthquake. West of that earthquake right here is a town of Pahala. This is the town of Pahala. One of our EMA family members has a grandson who graduated from high school here in Pahala, Hawaii earlier this year. Right there. You can see the high school right there. That is a high school right there in the center of your screen there. Okay? Pahala, Hawaii. Just north and west of Pahala, you have another earthquake. This is a 2.7 minor earthquake. 2.0 to 2.9 are considered to be minor earthquakes. So I've shown you two earthquakes here. To the north, we have another earthquake here. For all intents and purposes, this is also considered to be 7 kilometers, 3.5 miles north-northeast of Pahala, Hawaii. This is a 2.3 earthquake. 2.3 minor earthquake. Let's go north. This is Kilauea volcano. This is Kilauea volcano. And I believe this is a fairly recent picture, satellite picture of Kilauea volcano and Holly Mau Mau crater. Okay? On Monday, Kilauea started erupting. This blackened area and the grayish and white area here are called the caldera. Okay? This is a solid lava rock floor here. It's called the caldera floor. Hot, red hot molten lava covered the caldera floor. Where you see this hole here, this is where red hot magma started coming out of the caldera floor. And within a matter of hours, the entire floor of the volcano was covered with hot, red, smoking lava. Okay? Now, a day and a half later, the magma returned to the hole and stopped erupting. Kilauea volcano is no longer erupting. And as you can see on the map, the USGS has not shown any volcanoes showing earthquake except for one place. Kilauea volcano is not having any seismic events. Really? That's very interesting. Because yesterday I told you that the volcano stopped erupting the day before Christmas. Stopped erupting. And all of a sudden, the earthquake stopped. But there are two seismic instruments around Kilauea that are still moving. Seismic instruments. They're called tilt meters. The tilt meters are so active it's not funny. While Kilauea was erupting, the tilt meters showed deflation, meaning the magma beneath the volcano was going down. The amount of magma beneath the volcano was going down. Why? Because the lava came up over the caldera, right? The volcano had been erupting. So there was less and less magma down in the reservoir beneath the volcano. So the tilt meter was showing negative numbers. Well, guess what? It was showing deflation after it was erupting. Since the volcano stopped erupting, it's showing inflation, meaning the ground around Kilauea is actually rising again. The ground around Kilauea volcano is rising, meaning the magma reservoir beneath the volcano is filling up again. And the magma reservoir is filling up, causing the land to rise. That's what's going on right now at Kilauea. Okay? But there's one other earthquake we need to talk about. That's over here. This is the western side of Mauna Loa volcano, or what they call the western flank of Mauna Loa volcano. This is a 2.3 earthquake at Mauna Loa volcano. Okay? A 2.3 earthquake. Now, Mauna Loa has not been erupting as of late. Mauna Loa hasn't erupted in almost a year. Mauna Loa volcano had a very short-lived eruption when it did erupt. It erupted for several days and then stopped. Okay? So Mauna Loa volcano is active, isn't it? Showing an earthquake right here on the flank of the volcano. Right here. This is the summit of Mauna Loa volcano. One of the world's largest and most dangerous volcanoes, Mauna Loa volcano. Now, while I'm talking about that, let me take the earthquake map down, because I've got a lot more information to show you. A lot more information to show you, actually. So let's let that earthquake map go away. I want to show you what exactly has been happening over on the Big Island of Hawaii. Let me show you what they call a seismogram from Mauna Loa volcano. It's very interesting what's going on at Mauna Loa. Look at this, guys. This is a seismogram showing you the activity at Mauna Loa volcano today. Look at that. All kinds of activity. And down here, let me enlarge this seismogram so I can truly show you what's going on. This seismogram started showing activity at 5 a.m. yesterday. 5 a.m. yesterday. What we're showing you here at the top are tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes here at Mauna Loa. Where you see these larger blurps on each line here, that is a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber there. And you can see vertical lines on each of these lines here, where these pieces of lava are coming up, or magma beneath the surface are coming up here. These are tremors and or earthquakes. Tremors and or earthquakes. Vertical lines here are tremors and or earthquakes. Okay? Each horizontal line here represents 15 minutes of life at the volcano. 15 minutes of time at the volcano. You can see a lot of activity here. Now, over here in the top center here, you see a pretty long vertical line here. It's in light blue here, okay? This happened to occur after 9 a.m. yesterday. 9 a.m. over on the far left-hand side, we come over here. This is about 9:09, 9:10 a.m. yesterday morning. This is a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake yesterday morning. Fascinating, huh? Look at all this activity here. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mauna Loa volcano. And you continue to see earthquakes hitting Mauna Loa, don't you? On the light blue line here after 11:45 a.m. this morning, or yesterday morning. Okay, that blue line here on the left-hand side is 11:45 a.m. yesterday morning. This longer blue line here is approximately 11:50 a.m. yesterday morning. Again, it's about a 2.0 minor earthquake. That line represents a 2.0 minor earthquake. Let's continue going down the seismogram here. Okay? All this gobbledygook here that you're seeing, this indicates a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber at Mauna Loa, doesn't it? A lot of magma. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mauna Loa. And you're also seeing a lot of vertical lines. The magma coming into the magma chamber is fracturing rock inside the volcano. The fracturing rock is causing earth movement, which is called earthquakes. Earthquakes and tremors. Fracturing rock from the magma coming into the magma chamber causes earthquakes, causes fracturing rock, which is causing earth movement, called earthquakes. That's what you're actually seeing here. Now, all this gobbledygook happened after 3:30 yesterday afternoon. 15:30 over here on the left-hand side here. The last bunch of gobbledygook here, meaning a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber, happened before 7 p.m. yesterday evening. You see 18:30 over here on the left-hand side, that is 6:30. On that dark blue line there. At this point in time, you saw a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber, don't we? Yes, we do. The next line here is 6:45 and 1900 on the next line below that. 1900 is 7 p.m. last night. You've seen all this earthquake activity, don't you? Why is USGS not showing this on the earthquake map? Inquiring minds want to know. Now, I'm pulling this seismogram up here. Over here on the far left-hand side, we're seeing 000 hours. That is midnight last night. Midnight early this morning. Now, they are not showing much of anything after midnight. All they're showing here are minor tremors here. And down here at the bottom, microquake here. Microquake happening here at just after probably 4:40 this morning. 0440 this morning. Over here on the left, you don't see anything but 4:30 this morning. Over here on the right-hand side, this is 10 minutes after that, approximately 4:40 a.m. this morning. A microquake. Before that, over here on the right-hand side here, this happened at approximately 23:44 a.m. or 23:44 p.m. last night. 11:44 last night. After that, not much happens. Except, we need to remember one thing. The United States Geological Survey and all the other agencies tend to turn down their seismographs. They tend to turn down those seismographs until about 4 a.m. in the morning. Then they turn them back up. What are we seeing here? Hardly any activity at all. It's as if they turned off the seismograph, the machine. Okay? This is Mauna Loa volcano in Hawaii. Okay? Now, I want to show you another seismogram here. The next seismogram I'm going to show you is Mauna Kea. There is another volcano just north of Mauna Loa called Mauna Kea volcano. I want to show you what is happening at Mauna Kea here. Look at this. Isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting? Mauna Kea is showing even more activity than Mauna Loa. Mauna Kea is showing even more activity than Mauna Loa. Look at that, guys. Isn't that interesting? Mauna Kea is even more active. And yet, the United States Geological Survey is not showing any activity at all on their map at Mauna Kea. Absolutely not showing anything at all. It's interesting. Mauna Kea, at this point in time, we should be seeing Mauna Kea getting ready for an eruption because there's a lot of activity there. And yet, the United States Geological Survey is not going to allow us to see it. They're hiding the information, just like they hide all the other information around. Christine just gifted a Emergency Management Associates membership to one of our own. Ruthie B was gifted a 1-month membership to our family here on Emergency Management Associates. Ruthie, you need to thank Christine for that membership. We keep our membership dollars low. I'm allowing that to happen because I want everybody that can afford to do so to join our membership here on YouTube. Occasionally we have membership-only meetings where only members can attend our meetings here on YouTube. We've had 1 or 2 so far. We're going to have more. We're going to have fun. We're going to get even more educated about what's going on. That is the purpose of our memberships here at Emergency Management Associates. Okay? We want everybody to be able to afford that. Christine also just gave us a $3 super chat. Christine, thank you so much. God bless you for that. God bless you to help support our program. We appreciate that a lot. We appreciate everyone who donates either here on our super chats or super thanks or over at our PayPal locations, and you can see those over below this video today in our top of our program description. You'll find our PayPal or our Venmo location there where you can donate there. Also scrolling across your screen right now. Scrolling across your screen right there. You're seeing our email address, and you're also seeing our address here locally in Morganton, North Carolina. 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code is 28655. You can send us cards and letters here. We appreciate that a lot. Okay? Tell us about how your family is doing. Tell us about yourselves. Tell us what you're doing to prepare your families for a big disaster that's going to happen. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. We are going to have a large disaster, whether it's an earthquake or something else. There's going to be a disaster that happens in your life and mine. That's why we prepare. Disasters and emergencies. Disasters and emergencies, and they do happen, and they will continue to happen to each one of us. That's why we're here on Emergency Management Associates. We're trying to prepare everybody for the inevitable emergency that's going to happen. That's why today is designated as Emergency Preparedness Friday. Emergency Preparedness Friday. Okay? That's one of the reasons I'm showing you these earthquakes over in Hawaii. Okay? And I'm showing you what the agency is and is not doing. Okay? The people in Hawaii deserve better than this. The people in Hawaii deserve better than this. Now there's one other volcano over on the northwestern side of the Big Island. It's called Hualalai. Hualalai. Now, excuse me for a second. Okay. Just a second, I'll get it right here. There's another volcano called Hualalai. Okay, it's way over here on the western side of the Big Island. This is Hualalai. It's another volcano. Now, Hualalai is not very active. It is active, but it's not that active. Very little is happening here at Hualalai volcano. Okay? Let me show you what is going on at Hualalai. Okay? This is Hualalai volcano. This is a seismogram showing the activity at Hualalai volcano. Not much of anything. Each individual line here is represented by 15 minutes. 15 minutes of time. The thinner the lines represent less magma. The thicker the lines, more magma. It's called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. Okay? So where you see thinner lines, less magma. The thicker the lines, more magma coming into the volcano. And you even see these vertical lines here. Okay? For example, over here on the left-hand side. This would be 10:30 a.m. yesterday morning. You see a magma splotch here. In that magma splotch, you see a vertical line. That, folks, is a 1.8, 1.9 tremor, nearly a 2.0 mine earthquake. Yes, you're seeing a lot of tremors here. Over here on the left-hand side, you see 15:15 hours? That is 3:15 yesterday afternoon. Over here on the left-hand side, just below that, that is 3:30. At approximately 3:32 yesterday afternoon, we had a 2.02.1 earthquake because of magma coming into Hualai volcano, fracturing the rock of the volcano. Okay? Further, after approximately 4:30 yesterday afternoon, you see 16:15? That is 4:15 yesterday afternoon. Right below that, you see a vacant line here. That is 4:30. We come across here to the right. All of a sudden, we are at approximately 4:43 p.m. yesterday afternoon. We have a minor tremor here. 1.5, 1.6 tremor. However, let's come further down here. Okay? On this light blue line here, right below that light blue line, you see a 19:15 hours, 7:15 p.m. Right above that, that would be 7 p.m. 7 p.m. yesterday, Hawaii time. We come across that light blue line over here to the right. What might that be? How about 7:11 p.m. yesterday evening? This is a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake caused by magma here. 2.5, 2.6 earthquake caused by magma here. Okay? This earthquake lasted about 10 seconds. Again, the thicker the vertical line, the more time that earthquake occupies, meaning that 2.5 earthquake lasts about 10 seconds. Most people won't be able to feel a 2.5 minor earthquake. Most people won't feel an earthquake until it's at least 3.0, 3.5. This is probably not felt here. This is Hualai volcano. Let's continue moving on here. As you can see, all we see here are tremors until we get down here to early this morning. Okay? Over on the left-hand side, it says 4:45 a.m. this morning on the dark blue line. We come over here to the right. Suddenly we're at 4:55 a.m. this morning. A 2.0 earthquake this morning at Hualai volcano. Again, Hualai volcano does not have all the activity that you see at the other volcanoes, but it has some. It has some activity. Now, you don't ever hear about this. Rarely, if ever, you hear about Hualai. Most of the time, you're going to hear about Kilauea or even Mauna Loa. And it's been a while since I've even mentioned Hualai volcano. But I want to do that for you tonight so you can understand what's really going on the Big Island. Now, earlier today, I also checked the other volcanoes around all of the islands. Maui, Kauai, Oahu. None of those seismographs are showing any activity. I checked all the seismograms from the seismographs. They're not showing any kind of activity, meaning the volcanoes at those other islands are not showing any kind of activity at all. Not tremors, not nothing. It's only the Big Island here that's showing any kind of seismic activity at the volcanoes. Just so you know. And yes, we have our share of people our share of emergency management associate family here in Hawaii. Quite a few people live over here on Hawaii. That's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it. It's been a while since I have. I wanted to make sure everybody understood what's going on. Okay? Shirley is saying her dogs sense it low magnitudes before they do. Oh yeah, your dogs, your other animals are going to sense the activity before you ever feel it. Absolutely, that happens. It happens. Richard Smith is talking about a 2.9 minor earthquake over in Poland near Belarus. Poland-Belarus, Ukraine border. A depth of 5 kilometers deep. Basically 2.5 miles deep. Now that might be an earthquake. That indeed might be an earthquake. However, what else is going on at the Poland-Belarus, Ukraine border? Russia is attacking Ukraine. And what we're seeing over at Belarus, Poland, Ukraine border are probably mortars being fired off at Ukraine. Okay? That's what's going on. I believe that's what's going on. Okay. If you don't have any earthquake or any more questions about earthquakes in Hawaii, I want to move on here. Before I talk about any other earthquakes worldwide, I want to explain what is going on in Washington, D.C. We have a wide audience here from other countries. What happens in Washington, D.C. here in the United States of America affects everyone worldwide. The Democrat Communist Party of America is trying right now to prevent President Trump from assuming command of the presidency of the United States. Two things are going on. Unfortunately, two things are going on. Number one, the Democrat Communist Party are trying to make sure that President Trump never assumes the presidency of the United States. I've touched on this before. Now I'm going to explain something I think is very important. According to an article that appeared in the Hill newspaper today, actually yesterday, an article that appeared in the Hill newspaper yesterday during the day, President Trump is possibly still going to be barred from being sworn in as President of the United States, regardless of whether the people actually voted for him. Not just a popular vote, but the electoral vote as well. Duly elected. The people wanted President Trump to assume the presidency. But the Democrat communists are trying their best to stop it. As of yesterday, the Democrat communists are trying to catch President Trump under a violation of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. The Constitution of the United States provides that an oath-breaking insurrectionist is ineligible to become president. An oath-breaking insurrectionist is incapable or ineligible to become president. I'm going to quote the plain wording of the 14th Amendment in Section 3. Quote, "No person shall hold any office, civil or military or under the United States or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or an open rebellion against the United States, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. This disability can be removed by a 2/3 vote in each house. A 2/3 vote in each house, both the Senate and the House of Representatives. It's highly unlikely that is going to happen. It's highly unlikely that both the Senate and the House of Representatives, 2/3 vote, would vote to keep President Trump from assuming the presidency of the United States. Highly unlikely. Disqualification is based on insurrection against the Constitution and not the government. According to the Democrat communists, the evidence of Donald Trump's engaging in such insurrection is overwhelming. The matter has been decided in 3 separate forums, 2 of them of which were fully contested with the active participation of Trump's counsel, Trump attorneys. The first fully contested proceeding was Trump's second impeachment trial. This was the first contested proceeding, his second impeachment trial, on January 13th, 2021. Then President Trump was impeached for incitement of insurrection. At the trial in the Senate, 7 Republicans joined all Democrats to provide a majority for conviction, but they failed to reach the 2/3 vote required for removal from office. Inciting insurrection encompasses engaging in insurrection against the Constitution, or giving aid and comfort to the enemies thereof. The grounds for disqualification were specified in Section 3. The second contested proceeding was the Colorado 5-day judicial process hearing, where the Colorado Supreme Court found by clear and convincing evidence that President Trump engaged in insurrection as those terms used in Section 3. Quote, the Colorado Supreme Court affirmed, on further appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, the court held that states lack power to disqualify candidates. The U.S. Supreme Court held that states lack the power to disqualify a candidate for federal office, and that federal legislation was required to enforce Section 3, meaning that the state of Colorado did not have the authority to impeach President Trump or keep him off the ballot. Yet the Democrat Communist Party here in America, are trying to use the Colorado judicial system, in this case, to show that he was being insurrectionist. He was not. The court did not address a finding that Trump had engaged in insurrection. They did not address the finding that Trump had engaged in insurrection. Finally, there is bipartisan inquiry of the House Select Committee. Remember the January 6th Select Committee to investigate the attack at the U.S. Capitol building? More than half the witnesses whose testimony was displayed at the 9 public hearings were Republicans. Half the witnesses' testimonies were Republicans, including members of the Trump administration. The inescapable conclusion of this evidence is that the communists say that President Trump was engaged in insurrection against the Constitution. In particular, that Trump unlawfully demanded that his Vice President, Mike Pence, throw out the votes of the Electoral College for a political opponent, Joe Biden, a power that he did not have. While the supposed riot was in progress at the Capitol, allegedly, Trump used Pence's rejection of his demand to further inflame the crowd and cause them to chant, "Hang Mike Pence." Some will argue that the Supreme Court decision in the Colorado case, Trump versus Anderson, precludes Congress from rejecting electoral votes when they convene on January 6th. Some will argue that the U.S. Supreme Court decision in the Colorado case, Trump versus Anderson, precludes Congress from rejecting electoral votes when they convene on January 6th, meaning Congress cannot reject the electoral votes on the basis of the 14th Amendment, which would be a disqualification for President Trump to hold office. This view lacks merits for three reasons. The Hill newspaper also published an opinion piece called "Can the American News Media Survive Donald Trump's Fear-Based Regime?" Can the American news media survive Donald Trump's fear-based regime? The news media obviously does not want to tell the truth, and they continue on with their lies as well, just like they've been doing for years. Obviously, the Congress, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, are not going to be able to provide a 3/4 number of votes to remove President Trump from the presidency. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But the Hill magazine, the Hill newspaper, had an opinion piece there. Okay? Their own proposed plan to block President Trump from taking office. And yes, the members of MAGA, the Make America Great people, are mad. The MAGA people, supporters of President Trump, are furious. Two legal scholars have suggested that the Democrats should block President Trump from taking office, even as party leaders reject any such efforts. The MAGA Republicans decry the very idea. The MAGA Republicans decry the very idea, which means the Democrats don't hold power. The Democrats can't keep President Trump from assuming power on January 20th. However, there's some other things going on here. In a historic political comeback, Donald Trump secured the presidency in the 2024 U.S. election, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris after the Democrat Party removed President Biden. President Biden had all the votes from the primary election to be able to run for President of the United States himself. But the Democrat Party provided a coup against President Biden and applied President Biden's votes to Kamala Harris. And she lost the election. Now, this victory comes nearly 4 years after the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, where a supposed mob of President Trump supporters stormed Congress in an attempt to overturn the 2020 election results. It took 4 years to find out the true results of the 2020 election. Why? Because the Democrat communists tried to cover it up. It's now been legally proven that President Trump had more votes than they said he did. And we allowed President Biden to be in the presidency. And almost since day one, President Biden has violated. He's violated his oath of office. He's violated everything about him and everything about the laws that keep him in office, including his very opportunity to be in office, period. He's incapable. Since he first got into the presidency, it was very evident that dementia was setting in on President Biden's mind. It was not completely coercive. He couldn't hardly do anything. He couldn't hardly put two sentences together in a row. Even his speechwriters that gave him speeches, he had to memorize. And he even had a hard time memorizing them. And many times he became confused and even angry at times because he couldn't even think what he was supposed to say. During his latest debate against President Trump, he was all over the map. Many times President Trump was saying to the moderators of the debate, I don't understand what President Biden said. He's incoherent. And yet, the ABC News moderators gave the debate to President Biden. And after the debate, Biden's wife took him backstage. He had to be led off stage. Biden could not even find the way to get backstage. But she took him backstage from where the debate was held, only in front of the moderators. His wife took him backstage and said to the crowd back there, didn't he do great? He answered every question. Biden himself said nothing. Biden himself said squat. Yet the Democrat Party is still trying to keep President Trump from assuming the presidency. They tried assassinating him 3 different times. They gave Kamala Harris billions of dollars to run against President Trump. And now Kamala Harris is in debt. $20 million that she is not even able to pay back yet. Now, supposedly, this insurrection led to widespread condemnation and even legal challenges for Trump, including an impeachment for incitement of insurrection, though he was acquitted of that by the Senate. Despite these controversies, President Trump's 2024 campaign focused on economic issues, persuading voters of his capability to enhance the financial well-being of the citizens, which played a significant role in his electoral success. 2 experts, 2 Democrat communist experts, Evan A. Davis and David M. Schultz. Evan A. Davis and David M. Schultz, actually not Schultz, but Schulte, S-C-H-U-L-T-E. Evan A. Davis and David M. Schulte. 2 experts, supposedly, with extensive legal experience, wrote an op-ed for the Hill newspaper, in which they argued that the Democrats would be within their rights to block President Trump's certification on January 6th, on grounds of President Trump's oath-breaking insurrection. As we all know, there was no insurrection at all. None. But the Democrats are sure doing their damnedest to pose an insurrection right now. The Democrats are doing their own damnedest to promote an insurrection right now, trying to make Trump ineligible to be President of the United States, although President Trump won the election fair and square. Both popular vote and electoral vote, President Trump won fair and square. All of it. Wholly. Mr. Davis is a Columbia Law School educated lawyer who previously served as the president of the New York City Bar Association. Duh! President of the Bar Association, New York. Right smack dab in the middle of evil incarnate. New York Lawyers Association. And he was editor of the Columbia Law Review. Schulte, on the other hand, works as an investment banker in Chicago. Again, a hotbed of communism. And he clerked for Justice Potter Stewart and was educated at the Yale Law School. Well, glory be. Now get this. Mr. Schulte is an ardent supporter of guess who? President Barack Hussein Obama. Even renting his Martha Vineyard home to the Obama family in 2013. And Schulte is also friends with guess who? Billy and Hillary Clinton. Isn't that interesting? Both of these gentlemen are hotbed Democrat communists. And they're friends with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Both of whom, or all three of whom, are foes of President Trump. The argument both men put forward relies on the 14th Amendment, which says, quote, "No person shall hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any other state, who, having previously taken oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof." It's been proven that President Trump did not have an insurrection, but it is one fact that the Democrat communists are trying to provide an insurrection of their own to keep a duly elected president from becoming president and taking office. Both of these authors of the Hill opinion post called evidence of Trump's involvement in the insurrection overwhelming and therefore disqualifying. Well, Mr. Schulte and Mr. Davis, you are leaders of an insurrection yourself. We've seen this happen before. When the Democrat Communist Party tries something, they accuse President Trump or all of us of law-breaking or whatever it is. But guess who is really doing it? The Democrat Communists themselves. The Democrat Communist Party themselves. They are the ones that are providing an insurrection. They are the ones that are trying to impose something on President Trump that's not correct. They're lying again. Full posted lies. Full posted lies. And that's just not that either. Let's talk about something else that's happening in Congress right now. Let me play a short video from Fox News for you. I think this will really tell you where we're coming from here. Let me play this video for you. It's very telling what's going on.
Have any other of your colleagues said that they're not voting for Johnson? Any expressed?
I've talked to a few, who don't seem like they're going to vote for him. You have to ask them. I'm not going to betray anybody's position.
Will you just vote president, or will you vote someone else's?
I'll vote for somebody else.
I'm losing confidence with each day. And I think that we have a lot of our colleagues that are losing confidence. We're not sticking to the principles and the values in which we say that we fight for. And I think that Johnson has to do his best to start finally showing that he's going to do what he says and not just continue to try and make deals with King Jeffries.
All right, to Capitol Hill, where some House Republicans could put Speaker Mike Johnson's gavel to the test. A vote on the speakership is just 1 week away, and our next guest has made some headlines after telling Fox Business it's time to consider if current leadership is what we need. With us now, Maryland Republican Congressman and House Freedom Caucus Chair Andy Harris. Chairman, thank you for taking time on a holiday Friday, such an important topic, because just 1 week from today, the House, Republicans will gather to decide whether or not Mike Johnson keeps that gavel. Have you gotten any farther in your thinking? Will you commit to support Johnson 1 week from today for Speaker?
Well, we're still working with the Speaker's office to make sure that we don't have a repeat of what happened in the last 2 weeks leading up to that continuing resolution. I think, as you heard Representative Mills in the clip you just played, we just can't have him making the deals with Hakeem Jeffries, because the deals have to be made with the Republican conference, and that's not what we saw in the last 2 weeks. So we're working with the Speaker's office to change the way things are done to make sure that we can advance President Trump's agenda for the American people, and we'll see if those commitments can be made. If they can't, then next Friday could be a long day.
So have you made up your mind now, or are you undecided?
Well, again, I'm still working, and many members of the Freedom Caucus working with the Speaker's office to make sure that President Trump's agenda will be able to be delivered out of the House. And I think, again, if you looked at what happened with that continuing resolution, it was pretty clear that we're probably not up to that game right now, but we could be up to the game, and we'll see if the Speaker's willing to make the changes necessary.
Mr. Chairman, we expect fully, it's highly likely that President-elect Trump will put his finger on the scale and back someone, whether it's Johnson or not. But if...
Okay, I want to just pause real quick. Notice what it says there. Representative Johnson cannot make deals with Jeffries. Jeffries is a minority leader in the House. Jeffries is a minority leader in the House. Speaker Johnson cannot make deals with the Democrat leader.
If it is Johnson, will you commit to support him if he's Trump's pick?
Well, the House has to function independently. The President has not put his finger on the scale this week. Maybe he will next week. I don't know. But again, we hope the President realizes that some changes have to be made in how the House does business and how the leadership is functioning if he's going to get his agenda through. And it has to start on day one. We literally have to send our first reconciliation package over to the Senate, hopefully before the President's inauguration on January 20th.
Chairman, I want to know if you have considered some other names. If it's not Johnson, Jim Jordan's name has been floated. Are there others that you think would be considered as possibly a good selection, if not Johnson?
Well, again, we're hoping that Mike Johnson will work to make the changes necessary. Obviously, what we saw last time when Speaker McCarthy had to step down is we saw that the other leadership members, Steve Scalise, Tom Emmer, Jim Jordan, all those names came up last time. But again, I'm hoping we can figure out a way to get this House totally functional, ready for President Trump's agenda with the current leadership in place. But some changes are going to have to be made between now and next Friday.
Walk us, if you will, Congressman, through the math, as they say. Obviously, Congressman Massey sounds like he's a definite no, and it's so razor thin. He also alluded to possibly other members that are going to be no's as well. Are you aware of exactly where the math stands?
Well, again, if you look at people who have announced that they are against Speaker Johnson, I think it's just Mr. Massey at this point. But if just one other person votes for someone, just doesn't vote president, but votes for someone else on January 3rd, then the Speaker will not attain the necessary 218 that he needs to be declared Speaker. And then, who knows where we go from there. So it is very, very close. Again, we're working hard to try to get the changes necessary. All we want to do is we want to make sure we can hit the ground running with the Trump agenda, and we have to pass that border bill quickly because we have to close down the border. We have to begin deporting criminal aliens. We're just going to have to start immediately to undo what President Biden has done over the past 4 years.
The clock is ticking 1 week from today. We look forward to seeing how it goes. Chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, Andy Harris, thank you for taking time. Have a great holiday weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, that was the end of the video. Now, I want to tell you this. It can't happen. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. We cannot have a Speaker of the House that is against the President of the United States, number one. Number two, unless we have a Speaker of the House before January 6th, we cannot have a certification of the election. The House has to certify the election on January 6th, meaning there has to be a House Speaker on duty, supporting the President, doing the things he needs to be doing before January 6th. The House cannot take that vote to certify the election unless that happens. So just as Reddy said here, Reddy now said, we need to pray real hard for these leaders and the House Speaker. All of us as citizens of this country are in a very tight spot right now. We are in a very tight spot. We elected a man to represent us here in Washington, D.C. And now our own elected representatives are in positions to betray us, to keep our duly elected President of the United States from assuming his office. As I've stated before on this program, and various episodes of this program before, we need to call Washington, D.C., and right now it's too late. Right now it's too late. It's Friday night. They are not in Washington at all. They're in their home districts. But on Monday, you need to call the 202 White House switchboard. You need to call the 202 White House switchboard. You need to talk to your congressman, primarily. You need to talk to your congressman and tell them to make sure they elect a Speaker of the House unanimously. They need to elect a Speaker of the House unanimously and stop the BS. Yes, we need a Speaker of the House that will not put up a 1,500-page bill full of pork, full of crap. $250 million to study the breeding program of birds. Unreal. $250 million package to study the breeding progress of birds. Unreal. And there's others. That bill was full of pet projects for other congressmen. Should not have happened. It was also providing millions of dollars for the building of another sports stadium in Washington, D.C. The federal government should not be responsible for building a sports stadium at all. And yet that bill was full of that kind of crap. It cannot be allowed to happen. We also need to call Speaker Johnson's office and tell him never, ever to do that again. Also, he put up that bill 1,500 pages long and told other congressmen they had like 12 hours to read through it. 12 hours to read through it and then vote on it. It fell apart. It fell apart because Elon Musk found out about it. And then he told people to call their congressman. And people did it. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are representing Doge. Doge is the government office now that President Trump appointed them to weed out inequities in government, spending and otherwise. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk were doing their job. But our congressmen, our elected representatives were not. This has to be stopped. I don't care whether they are Republicans or Democrats. They have to be stopped, and stopped immediately. They are supposed to represent us, not themselves. They were even going to provide themselves with a raise, going up from $175,000 a year to $250,000 a year, $250,000. They were giving themselves a raise. Really? Unless you're willing to do the work of the citizens, you don't deserve to be there. Unless you're willing to do the work of the citizens, you don't deserve the raise. Period. End of discussion. And do not try to vote yourselves a raise until the people themselves, us, all of us, approve it. Mr. Johnson, Speaker of the House, I spoke to you 2 months ago in regards to money for FEMA to give North Carolina citizens money to survive the leftovers of Hurricane Helene, because FEMA was not doing their damn job. And at that point you told me that you were going to make sure that money was supplied to FEMA to provide money to help the people here in North Carolina, and you did. And I thank you for that. But now you need to do the right job. You need to do the job that we want you to do. Don't worry about what anybody else wants to do. If you're going to do the job that people elected you to do, do it. But you cannot let the Democrats or the Republicans put their projects and give themselves raises when they're not doing their jobs. And congressmen and women who don't even show up in Washington, D.C. for months. And then we find out they are in memory care facilities in Texas and other places. They don't even realize they're congressmen and women any longer. This cannot continue. We must have term limits as well, Mr. Johnson. And that's one of the things you need to do real quickly in the 119th Congress, Mr. Johnson. Congressmen and women, you need to get your acts together. You need to do the work of the people instead of yourselves. Stop the BS. Stop the BS. Okay? Folks, one of my mods, Don Patoka, put up the White House switchboard operator number, the 202 number. We need to call that number on Monday and talk to the Democrat, or talk to your senators, or congressman, I'd say, talk to your congressman, both the Democrat and the Republicans, and tell them to do their darn job. Tell them to put a speaker in charge of the House and do it quickly. Don't dilly-dally and wait around. Put someone in charge that's going to do the job. Okay? Unreal. Canadian Warriors asking, how do people pay $2,500 to $3,000 to pay rent every month, plus utilities? I do that. I do that myself, and I'm on a fixed income. And I'm very thankful for all of you that help me. I'm very grateful for that. Now, folks, I've come to the end of the program. I wanted to discuss preparedness, but I think I may do that either tonight, not tonight, either on Saturday, tomorrow, or on Monday. Okay? I will do that, I promise you. We will talk about emergency preparedness. Okay? Yes, I had a whole setup talking about preparedness already. Okay? I was going to talk about building a culture of preparedness. That may happen on Monday. I'm not going to put that away. Over the years, I put together speeches, I put together information for a book that I'm compiling. building a culture of preparedness. Okay? We'll probably do that on Monday. I don't think I'll be on the air tomorrow. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. Please take care of yourselves. Please do what you can on Monday morning to make sure you turn things around in Congress. To help President Trump get certified for his election. And bless the Democrats' hearts that they do not try to delay his inauguration one more time. The Congress Democrats cannot be allowed to delay President Trump's inauguration not one more time at all, period. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I care about you, or I would not even be here. I'm trying to do the job for you. I care. I want to just briefly touch on something before I end this program. Again, I'm gone to the book by Gordon B. Hinckley called Stand for Something. He says, and I quote, "We cannot be indifferent to the cause of truth and right. We cannot afford to stand on the sidelines and watch for the play between the forces of good and evil." Wrote John the Revelator, "Know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth." Revelation chapter 3, verse 15 and 16. We can't be cold or hot. John the Revelator's imagery is vivid. It points to our critical duty to stand strong and even to become leaders ourselves in speaking up on behalf of those causes that make our civilization, our country shine. Each of us can be a leader within our sphere of influence. The adversary of all truth would put us into our hearts or a reluctance to make an effort. We must cast that fear aside and be valiant in the cause of truth, fairness, and right. We must be valiant in the cause of truth, fairness, and right. Go and look up Revelation 3, verses 16 and 17. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Likewise this weekend as well. I take Saturdays off for the most part. I used to do this broadcast 7 days a week. I realized I need at least 1 day a week for my family. And when I was asked to teach Sunday school, like Come Follow Me lessons, I don't do normal broadcasts on Sunday unless it's absolutely necessary. And when I do come on the air when it's important. Like I said, on Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons between 12 and 12:30 Eastern Time, I come on the air with Sunday school, class we call Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. Again, this Sunday, I will be recapping Christmas and talking about the life and the mission of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Please join me Sunday at 12:30 for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. I promise it'll be worth your time and your effort. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. I love you all. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. Have fun. Good night.